What you just watched was the first ever reveal trailer for the next Mass Effect game by BioWare and EA that dropped during the Game Awards back in 2020. It's absolutely mad to think about that it's been over 4 years since this trailer dropped, and it's even wilder to believe that we are seemingly nowhere near the release of the next game in the series. Hey everyone, I'm LockhartQT, and this is going to be a video on what happened to the next installment in the Mass Effect series and what we can possibly expect in the future of the franchise. So of course, how did we get to this point? Well, it all started with that iconic trailer from 2020 during the Game Awards, showing Liara to Sony on an unknown icy planet which some have speculated to be Earth in the future, and some have even speculated it to be Alchera, which is a planet we actually visit during Mass Effect 2. Liara, sporting a slightly older appearance as well as a brand new outfit, ventures out into the harsh, icy cold planet to find what we are assuming as Commander Shepard's N7 armour. In the trailer we also see derelict Reapers and hear loads of audio directly pulled and ripped from the original trilogy as well as Andromeda, teasing a possible connection between the two galaxies, which I'll reference again later in the video. And of course, it was at this point in time as well we got revealed a remastered collection called the Legendary Edition, dropping the next year in 2021. Now this, in my opinion, is one of the best remastered collections we've ever had, as Mass Effect, in my opinion, is one of the best gaming trilogies of all time. Now for me, at this time in history, this trailer got me so hyped, as not only was I playing the original Mass Effect for the very first time, and I was slowly falling in love with the series for the first time, but now I had a much better way to play the original trilogy, as well as catching myself up for Mass Effect 4. You see, at this time, I actually thought the next game was going to probably release by like 2022 or 2023 latest, as I thought it was expert marketing from EA and BioWare to not only drop a trailer for the new game, but then a remastered collection for the original 3 games, not only, to get people hyped, but to also get people recapped on what happened in those games, as well as Andromeda going into the brand new game. Oh, what a fool I was. The Legendary Edition actually sold really well, and I think is one of BioWare's highest selling games of all time, and seemingly brought BioWare and EA back some good faith with the consumer base after the failures of both Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda. Okay, so moving on now to N7 Day 2021, which equally feels like a very long time ago. BioWare posted this 4K poster over on their socials, which appears to be simply a ship landing on a planet near a crater. However, the shape of the crater and the circle in the middle are very reminiscent of the Geth, who are of course from the original trilogy, with loads of them seemingly dead or at least inactive, scattered upon the surface of the crater in the poster. Now this could possibly tease not only the Geth returning, but Legion as well. Legion of course was a Geth and was a member of Shepard's crew, so maybe Legion could come back in the next game. Please BioWare, I desperately need my boy to come back. Plus, if we look closer into the poster, the ship has SFX written on it as its designation, in the Mass Effect art style as well, potentially being a reference to the original code name and titles of Mass Effect 1, which it was originally going to have, as Science Fiction X. Plus, we can also see a squad walking along the surface of the crater, featuring what look like a Krogan, an Asari, which could be Liara, and as well as 2 humans possibly. It's hard to tell because they're both wearing suits, and this could also be the N7 operative, which I'll reference later on in the video. Now moving on to 2022, where BioWare dropped 2 big teasers for the next Mass Effect during N7 Day once again. One was in the form of an art piece that was on a red-hued planet, which could be referencing or indeed be Ilium or Fessia from the original trilogy, showing off artwork of signs reused from bars in Andromeda, as well as confirming Turians returning as well as Solarians. We also get a few different pieces of concept art as well to back up these claims. But alongside these different pieces of artworks, we also got what's known as the secret transmission. Here, take a look.
I can see it. How did we miss this? Exactly. The Council will be furious. Although they should know by now not to underestimate human defiance. It was worse than most endearing fate.
In that transmission, we get a looping gif of a space station which has actually been confirmed by BioWare themselves not to be a Mass Effect relay, with a robotic Geth-like character talking to Liara Tassoni, with her saying, "How did we miss this? I can see it. How did we miss this?" Exactly, the Council will be furious, although they should know by now not to underestimate human defiance. This is interesting as again we get another trailer potentially highlighting the Geth as a species as well as returning characters, as well as what Liara is actually saying. Could she be potentially talking to a brand new Geth character, or maybe Legion? Or was the true identity of who she's talking to edited using the audio in such a way to hide their identity? Again, we'll have to wait and see. In regards to the little bit of text about the Council stuff, could our new story involve the squad defying the Council's orders once again? Of course, we saw this as a major plot point in the original Mass Effect, so again tying back to that where the crew have to maybe go and save Shepard, or they have to, defeat some galaxy or universe ending threat and the Council doesn't want to do it in, typical Council fashion. And again, it could be our characters once again defying the Council's orders and going a bit rogue and maybe Renegade or Paragon. Now skipping forward once again to N7 Day 2023, and of course it's here where we got the bombshell drop of a brand new teaser trailer showing off a brand new N7 operative walking through an unknown interior, turning around to reveal a brand new character in a brand new outfit, with an outfit that also seems very futuristic, sleek, brand new, but with yet a few design nods to Shepard's outfit. In the background we also potentially see a Krogan, as well as we get a shot of a planet in a sort of greeny yellowy hue, which many have actually speculated to be Tuchanka for returning from Mass Effect 3. But the question is this our new character, like a brand new protagonist, or is this indeed Commander Shepard just wearing a sleek helmet? Fun fact, I actually made a live stream back in 2023 watching with all of you lovely people and actually breaking down all of the teasers in real time as they were getting solved and watching the trailer pretty much the second it dropped. And I remember watching this on, the live stream with my audience watching, and I was convinced this was Commander Shepard. And again, we'll have to wait and see if this is indeed a brand new protagonist or just Shepard wearing a helmet, waiting for a reveal at a later date. On stream, myself and viewers were trying to decode and solve puzzles relating to the drop of the trailer itself. During these, we got actual binary code encryptions that should be on screen right now, one titled Epsilon, one titled Oculon, and the final one being titled Post Nebula. Now these are very interesting indeed, as Epsilon is not only the 5th letter in the Greek alphabet, but was also one of the older names for Mass Effect 1 before it was titled Mass Effect. In fact, if you look at the image on screen, which is from BioWare and EA themselves, so were Nebula and Oculon considered to be possible titles for, what was originally Mass Effect. So could this have been a tease to it being Mass Effect 5, supposedly, to Mass Effect 4, as technically Mass Effect 4 could be interpreted as Mass Effect Andromeda, with Mass Effect Andromeda even at one point in early development being named Mass Effect 4. So could this new game indeed be called Mass Effect 5, or will BioWare opt for a brand new subtitle? We currently don't know as of writing this video, and tell me in the comments below, do you think this is going to be Mass Effect 4, Mass Effect 5, Mass Effect Andromeda 2 Electric Boogaloo, or do you think it's going to have a brand new subtitle and it's not going to be a numbered entry? During these encryptions, we also got mentions of an Andromeda distress signal, a reference to the N7 Day 2022 secret transmission I mentioned earlier, as well as a date of 28/19, which is actually the date of the story in which Mass Effect Andromeda takes place in the far future, which could mean that either this brand new game could be a sequel, a direct sequel rather, to Mass Effect Andromeda, featuring Liara or some new characters as well as the Geth, or it could be an actual bridge or continuation or combination of the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies, tying in both games, maybe being a direct sequel to Mass Effect 3, as well as a prequel to Mass Effect Andromeda, sort of an in-between game if you were. Personally, I'm hoping it's a sequel to Mass Effect 3, but also ties in some stuff from Andromeda, as in my opinion, I enjoyed Mass Effect Andromeda, and I think that world and lore and characters shouldn't be just forgotten just because the game didn't do as well as the original trilogy, but at the same time, I really hope we get a sequel to the original trilogy, as I much prefer that story, that lore, and those group of characters, you know, Liara, Grunt, Shepard, etc. I really want to see what happens with those characters specifically going forward. Also, during N7 Day 2023, we also got this 4K character artwork of the N7 operative I mentioned from the teaser trailer earlier, sporting a brand new pistol weapon. But more interestingly, we get this artwork of a bar reminiscent of the sort of style of bars that we see in the original trilogy. In this artwork, we can actually see humans, Asari, Solarians, Krogans, Turians, Volus, Hanar, Quarians, a brand new Geth character wearing like robes. I don't know, it kind of looks like a medieval fantasy RPG robes. It's very odd. And by the way, I have made full videos pretty much breaking down everything in this video. There will be a playlist on screen as well as in the description for all of my Mass Effect videos, so if you want to go ahead and binge watch those, by all means go ahead and do that. We also see potentially the Ralloi, which are a bird-like species mentioned in the codexes of the original trilogy of Mass Effect games. However, they've never actually been shown on screen, as essentially their species hid from the Reapers to basically hide from the extinction, thinking that they were safe. So potentially we could see the Ralloi show up in the next Mass Effect game, as well as potentially getting a first look at the Angara returning from Mass Effect Andromeda. These were a brand new species from Mass Effect Andromeda, backing up the theory that this game could potentially be combining both the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies. Next up, we're of course bringing us to N7 Day 2024 from last November. I unfortunately wasn't covering Mass Effect back then, so I didn't actually cover this N7 Day, so I'm going to cover it now. During N7 Day 2024, we got this statement that's going to be on screen right now from BioWare, basically stating that due to Dragon Age the Veilguard releasing, I think it was either October, November of last year, Mass Effect was taking a back seat, with BioWare stating, although we're a little quieter this year, we couldn't be more excited for what's to come, also giving us players 2 brand new armor sets inspired from the N7 armor seen in the N7 Day 2023 teaser trailers, and the artwork again giving us more evidence to suggest that this brand new character could indeed be our new protagonist, since it's getting so much attention from BioWare. Also, if you look a bit deeper, these armor pieces included in the Veilguard are titled as follows: the Spectre of Battles Past, the Paragon of Leadership, as well as the Command Helmet. Now again, to me, at least all 3 of these have strong ties, or at least references to the original trilogy and Commander Shepard, obviously references his role as a commander, the Paragon and Renegade system being referenced, as well as him being a Spectre in the original trilogy. So again, let me know in the comments below if you think this is going to be our brand new protagonist, since it's getting so much attention from BioWare. So that's most of the key information we learned from the past 4 N7 days, from 2021 all the way through to present day, but let's go over some other pieces of information we know as well. Now, back in 2020 and 2021, BioWare actually revealed that some key staff members such as Parish Lay, Brennan Holmes, Derek Watts, as well as Dusty Everman were all returning to work on the next game in the series. All of these were developers who worked on the original trilogy of Mass Effect. Sadly though, pretty much from every year we've had a little one or a bigger one happen. We've had mass layoffs at both EA and BioWare, severely affecting both, BioWare themselves as well as EA. They got rid of some really key staff that both worked on Dragon Age as well as the original trilogy of Mass Effect, glad, since then a lot of those staff have managed to find jobs elsewhere at other companies, but it just sucks that they got rid of so many, talented artists and writers and programmers and things like that. And BioWare now is nowhere near the, the manpower and the actual size of the company that they once were, and a lot of people are now worried going into the next Mass Effect game. We also learned that BioWare could potentially be using Unreal Engine 5 to work on the next game, opposed to Frostbite, which was EA's in-house engine used for Andromeda, which was notoriously difficult to work with, and of course Unreal Engine being widely known to most programmers and developers in the overall community, hopefully making the development a lot more smoother going into 2025 and beyond for the next Mass Effect. So next up, I wanted to talk about the future of the series. Now, I know many of you are asking, what next, and when will the game actually release? Well, initially it was revealed that the next Mass Effect development reportedly didn't actually begin in full until 2023, with the game very much still being in pre-production. But with the release of Dragon Age the Veilguard, obviously in late 2024, focus, apparently BioWare have now fully stated this, and it should be obvious really, is now fully on the next Mass Effect game, especially since they were, BioWare actually confirmed that there were no plans to make DLC for Dragon Age the Veilguard. And obviously, sadly, the Veilguard did fail both commercially with fans and financially, with EA saying it failed to meet expectations. Personally, I'm not a big Dragon Age guy. I've only really played Origins, so I've got no idea, I've got no opinion on the game. From what I've seen, it just didn't interest me and I didn't want to buy it personally. But this means that there will be actual less developers working on the next Mass Effect game than before, and for the first time in years, BioWare will now only be working on one title at a time, being specifically the next Mass Effect game, which could hopefully mean that BioWare get to divert all their attention onto Mass Effect 4, Mass Effect 5, whatever it's going to be called, giving it the quality the series and the company desperately need. As in my opinion, if BioWare don't get this right, then this could be full doom and gloom DEFCON 1 situation where potentially this could be the end of BioWare if the next Mass Effect goes badly. However, I still have a bit of hope. There are really talented developers working at EA and BioWare, and I really do think that given, learning from the missteps from Andromeda, Anthem and the Veilguard, hopefully they can pull this out the bag and give us a game that we desperately deserve, and hopefully this could spark interest once again in the Mass Effect series. Anyway everyone, I've been Lockhart QT, and tell me again in the comments below, what do you think about the next game and are you excited for it? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.